Hello, warm fodder, and welcome to another Dune story. This week was pretty surprising because we didn't expect too many enemies out in the deep desert. Because a lot of guilds are moving to more active server like Pax, Epsilon or Corona. So we wasn't sure if we should keep going with our guild on our server or if we should start moving to the next server. Until now we are super lucky that the server was never empty. We always had some people to recruit, so we decided to stay on our server until the big update arrives. And yeah, we was right. Start of the week was pretty empty, but we found some new members for our guild and then our server came back alive. Two big Atreides guild were Brek and some smaller groups. Same with the biggest hardcore group on our server. When the server was at his peak times, we were in alliance with them, but since everything got more quiet, all started to do their own thing and we attacked us for content. So in this story you will see a lot of fights and we will see if we were able to take something out. This week we had our deep desert base on E5 and it was directly by a control point which was open to claim. Since we took control over the control point, we noticed that some Atreides are taking it directly back, but at some point we finally met him. Alpha Style, a player we already met last week, and it directly starts again with him. My friend had a fight before and won it against him. So after he left I started to wait for him and was able to also win a fight. But after that first fight I went in pretty risky with only 6 bandages left. But this didn't change anything in the fight because I got trapped by him and he got the free kill. But after this fun start we hoped for more PvP action this week. After that day we started to scout through the deep desert to see which ring mouths are active and finally found our first guild to fight with. Everything started with House Havoc. I told you all that we had an alliance with them, but usually every guild action got called. But we knew nothing and went in. What a great fight it was, even we was way less people than them. Because we were way less, we wasn't able to take the crawler, carrier or assault out, but in the end we took their time. After a break, the Russian Atreides group got spotted by us, and we knew that they are good players, but we want to interrupt them. So I directly went out with my scout and rockets. After finding 3 scouts of them at the G3's shipwreck, which attacked my friend, we got directly into the fight and then the carrier popped up. After seeing the carrier going home, we knew that they want to go back, so our next mission was to wait for them until they arrive. When we finally saw an Atreides scouting the ring mouth, we knew that they are coming back. What a fight it was. Sadly without any takedowns, but they wasn't able to crawler and got back home. Sadly I misclicked during the ground fight and opened my map, which cost me the whole fight. After all that fun PvP action, it was time for me to go back to Haga Basin and do some logistics. But in this time, they made themselves ready for the next crawler action, so we went out to interrupt them, that we can crawler after it because it was already late in the night. Finally, a member of us got someone down of their group and they got a bit smaller, so we were confident that we can go and crawler now. Thanks to Baliato and his group for helping us in the fight. After thanking him and his group and some rest, a new day began. While scouting, we spotted a carrier and a crawler doing their thing and we both decided to go for them. The group didn't look too big, so we hoped for a takedown. But let's see how the fight is turning out and who we attack. After a long fight, we was able to destroy the crawler storage, so they lost all their spies. They were super lucky that they didn't lost more, but as a surprise, it was Baliato and his group who loved the fight. Maybe you realized that we were so locked in into the fight that we kept going still in the PvE area. Since we are just friends on the server and not in an alliance, we are
You're
once enemies
really
and
crazy,
in the
guys.
next moment a group. But super cool that no one is doing any trouble even if we take some stuff down. Since we really like the control point fights, we took some more over in the deep desert but without any conflicts. But we saw an Atreides scout looking around, so we thought he wanted to take control over the control point. But instead he was at a medium spice field and we took him quickly down before we leave the island. But what happened when we were looting him was unexpected. When you spot someone searching for fights, it isn't smart to compact so close to our location. Sadly, I wasn't able to kill him, but we will see us in the next fight. And from fight to fight, I spotted some people fighting for the disruptor pistol in front of the shipwreck, so I decided to interfere them. I knew a friend is on his way, so I went full in. We didn't find any blueprints in their loot, so we still don't know if the one who fled was able to save their blueprints or if nobody got it. Anyways, it was a super nice fight out there at the shipwreck. Next up is another fight against House Havoc. They went out with 3 crawlers, which we didn't notice first, but saw some Harkos protecting the ring mouth. So we went directly for the fight, and during the fight a member of us saw the crawlers and attacked them to make sure that they leave. With that done, we were ready to fight even if we are outnumbered. After this long fight, we were able to take out 2 assaults and some more in the ground fight, so it was totally a win for us, even if we didn't thump any copter, but this is totally fine. Since the big groups are back, we need to find some tactics to take them out even if we're getting outnumbered. At some point it feels good to interrupt them and waste their time, but it's way more satisfying if you're able to sample a crawler or carrier. But the time will come where we get those big groups done. In the next clip we found a newer Atreides guild out there in the deep desert. We aren't sure if they are new or back from the start. And we don't even know what's the guild name of them, so we need to work on that in the coming week. No one expected a big fight coming, but look how these assaults are entering the fight like they waited for us. Lucky we was able to take this fight and they had to leave their spice field. But how unlucky I died when I wanted to go for the ground fight. We wasn't able to recover fast enough to keep the fight going. So it was good that we was able to interrupt them and damage them so far that they had to go fully back to recover from it. As I said, this week was filled with a lot. From the starting down with not knowing if we should restart on a new server to an end full of action with bigger groups getting back. Hopefully the chapter 2 brings some people back that we can continue here on our server. When this video comes out, the update should already be here and I hope you have a lot of fun exploring the update. That's all said, I thank you a lot for watching the video. Feel free to leave a like and if you don't want to miss any content, hit that subscribe button. Stay safe, your Schneck.